Stamp with Anita group. This is my Everyday Arches card class. Those of you that bought a kit ahead of time, that signed up ahead of time, would have gotten your kit in the mail. So you would have received this, would be all the make and take packets, the card kits for the cards that we're making. It would have included a full pack of the Everyday Skies DSP, Designer Series paper, and these beautiful gems. I love these. So if you bought that ahead of time, you might be crafting along with me, or you could watch this again on a replay, slow it down, speed it up, however you want to do that. Those of you that signed up also will gain access to this PDF file. I realized yesterday when I was doing the class there were a few mistakes in it, so I had to redo that, and I will be updating that PDF so that we have the correct measurements and directions. But it's great because it has the photos and the supplies and the directions step by step for each of the cards that we're making today. And the last one. So I can't wait to share these with you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip the camera around so that we can go ahead and get started. All right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start and highlight what we're using. This bundle was kind of missed, I think, because it is an online exclusive bundle, and I think a lot of times those get missed. I don't know if I can't really get rid of that light glare, but I love this. Everyday Arches, just some really fun sentiments and some images, and then it has these coordinating arch dies, which are the bomb. I love these. So in the directions, when I talk about which one I'm using, and I put this in the PDF, I start with the center and go out. So I start with the smallest size. I'm calling that smallest one number 1, and then number 2, 3, etc., out to number 10. So, but I love these. They've got, they cut out, and then they've got that little stitched design around them. So I absolutely love that. So that is the bundle that we're focusing on. And then let me pull out my packet. And then the DSP paper, which mine is used and abused here. Absolutely love it. One side has got just this beautiful skies painting, and the other side is a little bit more neutral. So I'm just going to quickly flip through. So this is the back side, which has just got like pattern. But look at these, and it's like brush stroke. It's so artsy. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful paper. Oops. These are all the pieces and parts that I've cut from. So the girls that signed up ahead of time, or the girls that came to my actual physical class, got a whole pack of this. It's the 6x6 Everyday Skies. So, and we really are only using a few pieces out of here for the class, so they have lots of fun paper left over that they can use. And then the other thing we're using are the gems. I'll go ahead and pull my packet. These beautiful gems. What are these called? These are called two-tone sparkle gems, and I will hold them up here, but just beautiful. Kind of blues and pinks and purples, and just nice and sparkly. I love them. So anyway, so here's the kit. We're going to start with the first card. Actually, I think I'm going to take all these out of here so I don't have to fangle with that the rest of the class. And we're going to start with the first card. Let's go with, here we go. So this is card number 1. And again, this is the finished product we're going for. And I don't know if you guys like it when I show you the card ahead of time, or wait and see it. I've got a trigger thumb going on this finger, so I'm a little wonky when it comes to my hand. So I'll go ahead and show you this card. So this is the first card, Way to Go, and I love the panels cut out of the dies. Now, those of you that got the kit ahead of time will not have those panels cut out. So you'll have to use the die and cut them out. And let me look on my instructions so I don't tell you which one. Which one did we use? I used the third one, so the third one in from the center. And I went ahead and already cut mine out. Now, this one particularly, I just took one of the sheets of the DSP. Let's say it was this one. It wasn't, and I laid the die down and just cut them out straight in a row. Another sample that I did, this one, I cut them out from 3 different sheets. So it's almost like you're looking through 3 different windows and you see 3 different skies. So it's totally up to you how you want to do that. But again, I love the detail of it, cutting it out and giving you the stitches. So that again is the 3rd arch in, and I've got that. I also have this piece of cardstock, which is 1 3/4 by the 5 1/2, and I ran it through a folder. When I designed this class, this folder was still available. It has now been retired, but what it reminds me of, it was called the mini corrugated embossing folder, but it reminds me of the crimpers we used to use that we used to roll through. So I'm sure a lot of you have that, or you could use any folder that you have, or you could just leave it flat too, but I just think it's kind of fun to have the texture. The other thing you could do, obviously, is you could also just use a sheet out of the DSP. So let me look through here, for example, because I know there's some darker ones. Like this would be nice because it's a darker one to put behind there, but really any of them. So I've got that. I've got this tiny little piece of balmy blue, and it is a 1/2 inch by 2 1/4. And then this piece, I love. Oh my goodness. Let me share with you what that was. So that is the More Messages stamp set. And what's cool about this stamp set, as I open this up, is that it is one image, and you stamp it down, and then it has a coordinating die that you use to cut it out. So let me show you, for example. Here is the sheet that I stamped in Misty Moonlight, and then I had taken the die and run that through my Stamp Emboss machine, and I've got all these images all cut out at once. It is so amazing. So I literally have a whole packet full of these that I keep in a little envelope, and it makes it great. So when I'm looking for sentiments, I have all different sizes, and you could, like, I have some cut in black because we're going to use black later, but I've got them cut in all the different, well, the die cuts it all out at once, but it's got all the different shapes, and I love it. So I chose this one out of here to use for this card. So let's get started. I've got actually a thick white cardstock. I flew it right off the table, so let me put it back. And I folded it in half. This is just a full sheet of thick white cardstock, 8 1/2 by 11, that I cut in half at 8 1/2. I'm sorry, 8 1/2 wide by 5 1/2, and then scored it at 4 1/4. The typical card that I make. And then here is my Misty Moonlight piece that I had run through the folder. Again, you could use any folder that you have on hand, or you could even use a crimper if you have that. Okay. Hopefully I got that straight. And then these 3 pieces, what I do is I kind of like to see where I'm going to lay these out. If these were together, that's exactly how they were cut out of the cardstock. And kind of visually lay them out. And then I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals to pop them up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on, all 3 of these. There we go. And then what I like to do, the grid paper is great for this, kind of lay it out if I'm trying to figure out, making sure that I have them lined up. I always like to adhere the ones on the outside first, and then the one in the center can kind of, go between there. But if you're trying to make sure those are straight across, you can visually just use the grid paper, or you can even take like your envelope and lay it across the card, and then that way you have an accurate placement of where those are going to go. So let's take these off. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one down first. Right about there. Then I'm going to take the one on the other side. And place it about the same from the edge. Visually. I'm not really measuring. And then the center. So that helps to get it so that they're straight across. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think as long as it looks like it's straight, and you're probably good. And I try not to press them down too hard, so I have everything down to make sure they're good. I think those look great. Oops. Oh, maybe I should have pressed that one down. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to adhere the way to go, or whatever sentiment. You can choose a different one off of there. And I'm just going to take that and attach it to this balmy blue piece. And you could leave the ends of that, I'm trying to center that on there, I don't know how centered I got it. You could leave those ends straight, or if you want to add some more dynamic, I kind of think it's fun, I kind of cut it at an angle, the opposite of what it was. So let's do that on both sides. It's just cute, adds a little dynamics to it, but that's totally up to you. I'm going to stick some dimensionals on the back of that. And then, oh, ladies, you know what I totally forgot to do before I put those down? I wanted to stamp on here. Oh, so now I'm worried. Let me see. Oh, this is one of those things where you do as I say, not as I do. I think I'm going to take my brace off. Can't believe I did that. So make sure you stamp on these. That is in the instructions. That's what happens when I don't read my instructions. So I'm going to pull out my stamp set and use this. I'm using the Misty Moonlight. I just got so ahead of myself. I was so excited about those arches. Wanted to get them down. And I'm using this sentiment that says, reach for the stars. I ink that up, and I'm just going to stamp it at the top of that arch. There we go. And then I've got the stamp set also has these little stars in it, which I think are so cool. Reach for the stars. And then the other thing I wanted to do was on this one, stamp a balloon up here. So I'm wondering, I'm afraid to stamp it over top of that dimensional, so I think I'm going to pull it up. Oh, there we go. Not too bad. There. I'm going to keep this one simple. I'll show you another one where I stamped more balloons on it. Now we're back. We're on a roll. All right, let's put this back on here. I'm just going to eyeball it this time. And this one, the dimensionals are still on there, so I guess that's the good thing about not pressing too hard. You can pull it up. Yay! All right, travesty averted. And then this sentiment, I'm just going to apply right here. And then the fun of adding the gems, let's pull those over here. I love these. They just pull all these colors together nicely. And on this one, I'm just going to, oops, pull it off of there. Just going to add a couple of gems down in here, just to add some bling. One there. This has like 2 different sizes on here. I should have my pick tool to be doing this. I didn't get it out. So there it is. And then if you'd like, I think it's fun to perhaps add a balloon. I'm going to stamp it twice, so it almost looks like that one's further back in space there. And then these stars also are just kind of fun. There we go. And then, of course, the envelope. We want to stamp the envelope. We can't have naked envelopes, so I'm going to go ahead and use that same balloon. I'm going to go up and down. And the same little stars. Maybe there, just in the corner there. And then I didn't put a message on the inside. You can always do that later. Again, this one was stamped with the Misty Moonlights. Let me close that up and put that away. But there's the first card. I love the bling. So let me show you. So this card, I used a different sentiment out of that More Messages that was die cut. And so I left that Balmy Blue straight. And this one I stamped and then stamped off some balloons in the background. So it's just a whole balloon fair. And again, this window I used, or for the windows, I used 3 different parts of the DSP, or different sheets, I guess I should say. And this one was all the same. So just fun card. This one I think is pretty much the same as this one. With the envelope. All right, that was card 1. Card number 2 is Hello. Love the colors on these. I was inspired by some other demonstrators online that designed some of these cards, and I just love it. If you're following along afterwards, this one is cut out of, I think it's the 7th. Let me look so I don't tell you the wrong one. The white is cut out of the number 8, and again, I count from the center out, number 8. This one is 7 because it's going to nestle inside of there. This one is the first one, number 1. It's the tiniest. And then I've got a piece of, let's see, it is 3 3/4 by 3 piece of Night of Navy cardstock. I've got a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 of Cajun Craze, which I ran through that same folder. Actually, if you didn't want to run it through the folder and you have the DSP, you could even just use the DSP. This is the back of one of the sheets, and that could be used instead as well, or any folder. This piece is just 3/4 by 3 inches. Also ran that through. That's the Cajun Craze. And then this piece is actually cut out of a piece of the DSP because I was looking for this background. And these papers are easier to find. So if you're trying to find this same image, look for this. It's easier when you're flipping through the skies. It's kind of hard because a lot of them are so similar, they have similar colors. But if you want to use the same arch that I used, or the same sheet of DSP, it's this one that's kind of a moody mauve. And then this one is got almost like that peach pie color. So I've got those pieces. And this one was, I don't know if I gave you the measurement, 1 1/4 by 3 1/2. So those are my pieces and parts. I've also got some twine. When I designed this card way back when, we still had some navy baker's twine, which we don't carry anymore, but you could use any twine that you have, even just linen thread out of your stash. The rest of the cards, we're going to be using this, as far as cutting out the DSP, it's going to be the number 7, what I'm calling number 7 arch. So again, we're using white for the base, and I'm just going to fold that in half. It was 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, and then folded in half. And this one's going to go this way. So we're going to start with putting down our I love that sound, corrugated. Oops, it stuck to my finger. Sometimes with embossed pieces like this, when you run your tape adhesive over top of it, it likes to pull it because the fibers of the cardstock have been compromised with running it through a folder. So sometimes it's actually easier just to put it on here, or sometimes just using green glue, our liquid glue. Then you don't have to deal with that. And the nice thing about the liquid glue is it gives you a little bit of time to move it around if you need to adjust it. So there's that. And then the next thing on this card is we're going to put down the Night of Navy. This one will go down easy. And I don't know, I've got it pretty much centered on the card. All right, and then let's go ahead and we're going to work on this. And I'm going to try to remember to stamp things. I got so excited last time. Stamp things before we move forward. So let's see, we need the birds. We're using Night of Navy, and I'm using the birds out of the set. Oh, what I do with the set. I was going to show it to you again, just to remind you what all's in that. Oh, I set it over here. So it's also got airplanes that you could use. Same on that first card. I just thought the balloons were appropriate. I thought the birds were appropriate here, but it's got the planes, it got the balloons, so you could use any of those, really. But I chose to use the birds, and I'm going to open up my Night of Navy ink and stamp my birds, make sure I've got them going the right way. And I'm going to kind of stamp them going like this, so they're kind of soaring through the frame. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. I didn't do that with the first card, but I'm going to go ahead and clean off my birds. We're going to be using them quite a bit on cards. So, oops. All right, so then this is simply going to be, I must have some adhesive sticking on the outside of it layers so nicely. I love how these dies work. And just that extra little stitching just adds so much interest to the card when you see it in person. All right, so this simply is going to be popped up on top of the card. I was sticking to it. Let's see. Try to go ahead and pull these backs off as I lay them down. Some people like to use lots of dimensionals, and some like to use them sparingly. I'm kind of in between, I guess, a moderate there with that. So we're going to stick this, again, just pretty much center it on the card. All right, and then let's work with the other pieces that we have. So this one right here, we could use the word hello, or the thanks also, which is also in the set, works really well in this. The other one that would work well is embrace the journey. Would be a nice one too. So I think I'm going to stick with hello for this one. I don't know, I like the boldness of it. And the nice thing about using hello is you could use it then for pretty much anything. Hello, and then it could be a happy birthday. Hello, miss you. Hello, congratulations. You know, hello, been thinking of you. So lots of options there. So I think that's a good idea. All right, to get the rest of these together, what we're going to do, I'm just going to adhere this little strip of crepe. It really likes to stick to my finger. Cajun Craze to this little sheet. And then I'm going to take this twine and I'm going to tie it around. Oh, I guess just once. There's another card where we tie it around twice, but I'm just going to tie it around here. Kind of off center it because I've got to put my sentiment on there. Not the easiest thing to do when you've got a thumb that's not cooperating and doesn't want to bend. And trust me, you don't want me to bend it, because if I do, it's excruciating. I would probably scream. So, and then you can kind of figure out like that. That's why I tied it a little bit loose, because I need to adjust it over just a little bit. You could also just tie a bow without wrapping it, but I think it's kind of fun to have that wrapped around there. So I think that's good. And then this, actually I think I'm going to use the smaller ones. We have these little mini glue dots. Hopefully I'm in the camera, I wasn't paying attention. Mini glue dots. Here we go. Let's do that. Make sure that's not stuck under there. There. I feel like I have it going downhill for some reason. There we go. And then you can either pop that up with dimensionals or you could just glue it straight down on the card. I'm going to go ahead and just, I've done it different ways each time. And this could be, I think on some of the cards I have it centered. This one I think because I have so much dark down here, I'm just going to kind of visually, I think it looks better lower. So you can always play with that. And then of course, bling again. I need to just take this out of here and leave it out. Here we go. Let's see, this one fell off earlier, so let me grab it. I'm going to stick one down here, maybe about there. I'll take a little one. We'll put it there. And then let's take another one up here in the sky. Oh, I love these colors on this. There you go. So cute. And then again, you could add, since we have the birds on the outside, you could add the birds down here in the corner on the inside. And then same thing on the envelope. You could even add some on the back of the envelope if you'd like. So there is, let's move this out of the way, card number 2. I'll show you how different, like this was a different part of the cardstock. I think it was actually the same sheet, but just a different part of it. So see how it looks a little different? This one's got a little more pinks up here. This one's just vibrant, beautiful fall sunset here. And then this one I wanted to show you is where I used the word thanks on it instead. So that works really well too. And then I was going to show, I think on one of these, oh maybe not, one of my envelopes I put the birds a little differently. So anyway, there's that with the little bird. That's card number 2. All right, moving right along. Let's move on to card number 3. So there was card 2. And here's card 3. I was really looking forward to sharing this one with you. This is such a fun card. It is, I'll show you this real quick ahead of time. A little shaker card, but it's also a fun fold. It looks complicated, but really is not. So let me get started showing you that card. That's card number 3. So it's pulling all the pieces and parts out. All right, so this one, we've got a piece of DSP that is 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Well, I take that back. So 8 1/2 by 4 1/4, scored at 4 1/4. So the finished card size is 4 1/4 square. So I've got that. I've got a layering piece that's going to go on the inside. So this is 4 by 4. And then I cut out a sheet of the designer series paper. This is the sheet I used. It's easier to find this pattern. It's a blue with little pink stars. So this is the piece that I cut out. I've got arches, a number of arches here. So this one, oh, isn't that fun? This one is got the purple stars. This one's got the blue. This one's got the purple stars. Cut this one out, and it is that same die, the number 7. And then I've got also a number 7 cut out. And let me see, the interior of this one is number 4. So I ran those through the cut and emboss machine at the same time. So let me show you real quick. 1, 2, 3. So I think this one. Yes. So what I did is I put down the cardstock and put those down in my machine and then ran them through at the same time, so that when I cut it out, then I've got this nice arch for that. Put that away. I tend to lose dies. And then also I cut out of a window sheet just a size down. So this was a 7, so this is like a 6. And I cut that out of one of our window sheets. So those are all those pieces. And then I have a scrap here that I'm stamp on. And then again, you could use the blue twine. You don't have to add twine. This was something I had in my stash. It's I thought it pulled out the pinks really well, so I pulled that out. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to stamp on this so I don't forget. I'm also using the Night of Navy on this card, and I'm using the birds. Now, what you have to realize is that this is going to end up layering over top of here. So whatever you stamp, you want to make sure it's within this frame, because if I stamp up here, you're not going to see it. So it might be wise to just lay that frame down and then stamp it. So that way it's in the frame properly. So I'll set that aside. The other thing I need to stamp out of our stamp set, we're going to be using this Know You Are Loved arch. So I've already got that mounted over here. And I'm going to ink that up really well. It's a bigger image, so I want to make sure I've got it inked well. The other thing is it's kind of hard to see through here because it's like this is such a light color. I like to lay down something underneath. It could just be cardstock. This is our foam pad that we have. And I'm going to try to stamp this. I'm kind of looking through the camera, so we'll see. Hopefully I do it straight down and straight up. Voila! Pretty good. I'll take it. Oops, sorry, shook the camera. I'm going to clean that stamp off. There you go. You are loved. So that works really well. And then what else do I need to stamp? Since I'm stamping, I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be the inside of the card. And I'm using this sentiment. Again, it's in the same Out of the Everyday Arches set. And it says, so very much. You have the outside that says, know you are loved so very much. Which you are. And then I'm going to add the birds again. I just love these little flighty birds. Isn't that cool? Clean that off. All right, I'm looking. The other thing I did, for the girls, they had a piece of scrap, and then they also stamped the birds on the piece of scrap. And then that was for them to cut out for the front. There's going to be this little bird that we're going to put on the front. I already did that off camera. With a trigger thumb, that's no fun to watch. So I've already got that piece. So let's get assembling. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. Well, I'll put it up here because we do need it for the envelope. Why don't I go ahead and do that? I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the envelope while I have the ink out, and then I'll... this is what I was going to show you. I did a card yesterday where I took the birds and just kind of put them along the edge of the back of the envelope. So that's another option that you can do. Clean that off. All right, now we'll close. Oops. Sorry, I keep hitting that camera. We'll put that out of the way. So now we have all our pieces and parts. It's time to assemble. All right, so here's the front of the card. And this DSP, again, it's the 4x4, just simply gets layered onto your card base. These are such fun colors. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. And that just layers there. Like so. Okay. And then, now, to put the rest of this together, what we're going to do, we're going to take this, and I'm going to apply my adhesive around the entire edge of this. You could also use tear and tape if you want to make sure that it's really secure. But I have found that this seems to work pretty good. Probably the, the plus would be even better. but I think the adhesive sticks really well to the window sheets. So I just put that adhesive all the way around the edge of that. And then I'm going to take the window sheet and I'm going to layer it onto here. And again, it's just a little, it's a little bit smaller. So it's just layered onto there. It's pretty secure. Oh, I got a goober on there. How did I do that? From my adhesive. I wonder if I have a piece of tissue or something I can get that off with. Hold on. There we go. That came right off. Okay, probably not the healthiest thing to use, but if you ever have glue that you're trying to get off, and it works on photographs too, is this undo. Not healthy. Actually, a healthier thing to use, but I just don't have it down here, to be honest, is lemon essential oil. Works really well to get sticky things off and stickers and things like that. Okay, so that I've got that done. Then the other thing I'm going to use are these. These are they're dimensionals, but they're our strips, which are awesome. So they're cut in these thin strips. And I'm going to pull it off of here. Oh, I'm trying to get it off without getting the backing off of it. And I'm just going to start down here. And I kind of started like just inside the little stitch of the pink. And I'm just going to go around the edge. Of course, the top wants to come off. I'm trying to keep it on there for now. But it's kind of hard to do when it's going around that edge. But I do love these. Okay, and then I'm going to need another piece. I'm going to try to visually figure out, like maybe to there. Let's see. Let's see if I estimated. Oh, good, I did good. So there we go. So it's got a little well, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little shaker pieces. Let's grab those. These are so fun. You could use anything. I have so many different ones that are retired. Like this is actually an old one that I'm using because I think I love the colors in there. But any kind of fun shaker. This one's current. It might be on the last chance list, but I'm trying to open this without spilling them all over the place. But take those and carefully lay them on inside, in the cavity there, without trying to touch the adhesive. I mean, like I said, I know these ones are retired, but I'm going to use these too. Just fun little sequence inside there. Some of those are just dark and pink, and they just pull out the colors in the cardstock so well. So let's now take, carefully, I'm going to take this top off, the backing of the foam strip. Oh, it's sticking to me. All right. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to flip it so that the stamp side is down, because then you can see it through the window. And it's easier if you kind of start at the bottom, so just line up that straight edge and then follow it on up the curve. And then I'm going to press that really well so that it's adhered. And here we have a shaker. It's funny when you first do this, it's pretty staticky, but the static kind of goes away after a while. I actually don't mind it sticking, but shaker cards look so fun and complicated, but they're so easy, and these dies make them even simpler. I just love it, especially with the layering effect of that. So now let's finish putting this together. Oh, I just saw something I meant to do. I meant to put this, tie this on here. So hopefully, it's one of those things again, lady. Do what I say, not as I do. Okay. Fortunately, I didn't have that glued down too well, so I'm actually going to stick some adhesive on there so that when I'm done doing this, it will stick down well. Anyway, do this before you put the the cardstock down, but I'm just going to loop it through a few times and tie a bow. I'm actually going to go ahead and glue that down because I think that'll help me keep it from slipping and sliding. So let's tie a bow. This twine also was like kind of thick, so I actually pulled it apart. It was a thicker piece of twine and I pulled it apart to make it thinner. So that's why it's kind of swirly. But I kind of like it. I like it like that. All right, and then we're gonna snip the edges there. All right, now to put this on, what you want to do, you want to make sure that it's going to fit in the envelope properly. So I like to lay the envelope down and lay the card on top of it, and to make sure that wherever I position this, like you don't want it up here, obviously, which it wouldn't visually look nice that far up anyway, but I'm going to want it about there. So what I like to do is flip it over, and you could use whatever adhesive, but I tend to like to use something a little stronger with something like this. I'm going to use my tear-in tape and just to put this on with. It's probably our strongest tape, and whenever I'm doing something that's a little more three-dimensional or that I want to make sure doesn't move around, I'm going to burnish this because it's a little easier. I don't know where my, oh, here's my tape. See if I can get this to come up easy. There we go. I take pick tool. Most of the time I just use my snips, but now we don't carry those either. Keep forgetting about that. So anyway, that works really well. All right, let's look at this guy. And, oh, at least it landed the right way. So I'm just going to center it. I'm going to pull it down here so I can actually see it to center it. Looks about right. And then press it down. Isn't that fun? And then I still have this little bird, and what I did with that one is I just used our glue dots. I'll use my pick tool here again and pulled up a little glue dot off of there. Sometimes I kind of like roll it a little bit, and I'm just going to apply that onto this little bird. And then, and this is optional, but I don't know, just kind of pulls it together. And there it is. How cute is that card? And who doesn't need to receive a card like that? No, you are loved so very much. And it sits up really cute when it's done. So I love it. So simple shaker. You could do this with any stamp set, like with any other things that you want to make. It doesn't have to have an arch in it, but I do love this arch. There's all kinds of other sayings on here that you could use. And since we have different arch dies, you could make this little shaker any size. But I love that. And I love this pink. It does help pull that through there. So, okay, so there's that card. Let me see if I had anything that was optional or something different. Oh, here's one. Here's one that, okay, that was definitely do as I say, not as I do, where it's not the end of the world, but I forgot to stamp the birds inside on that cardstock before or the DSP before I did my shaker. And so I really love them in there. So instead, I ended up stamping an extra one and putting it on the outside. Here's one that is using the blue twine. Oh, I just realized what I forgot to put on here. I forgot the bling. We got to add bling. Let's see. I'm going to use this. Let's see. I'll just put them about the same as I did on the other card. So a couple down here. And then I did one over this way. About there. There we go. Probably doesn't need it because it's got a lot of bling inside, but can never have too much bling. So anyway, it still works, even if you make mistakes like that. No one's going to know, but this one again has the blue. I even did one and tied some purple twine around there. So there, that is card number 3. So let's move on. So that was 3. Let's move on now, the last card. And this is another really fun fold. Let me show you what we're making. How fun is this? So this folds down so it fits in an envelope nicely. And then it sits up. I don't even know what to call this. Pop-up card, or I don't know, but it does sit on its own. It doesn't want to do it for the camera. And again, looks really complicated, but really fun and simple to make. So let's get started on this one. I'm going to pull out my pack. Now on this one, those that are stamping with me or we're cutting out, I cut out the arch. Again, this was number 7, what I call number 7 arch, and it's this paper. It's the one that's more of a petal pink. There's one that's more peach. This one's more petal pink and has the tiny little birds on it. That's the arch that I cut out because I wanted to have the blue that's more of a balmy blue in the background. And then this was out of the same paper. It's like it'll be like a continuation of that sky down here. And you'll see how we're going to use those. That's going to get layered onto balmy blue that's cut out of arch number 8. And then I have 2 white arches that, let's see, these are cut out of number 5. So I have 2 of those. So one is going to be for this front that we're going to stamp this flower on, and the other is going to be for the back. And this is where someone would actually sign the card. So I have 2 of those. And then I pulled out a couple options for the sentiment. Again, this is the More Messages that I stamped in our black, or Memento Black. And then I used the die and got all those out at once, which is awesome because then you can kind of play around with it because lots of these will work on this card. So you can play around with it to see which one you want to use. So that's just a reminder of where I've got these as a couple options that I wanted to use. And then this was a piece of scrap in case, let me show you this card. When I first designed this, I stamped this extra flower down here and put lots of love. So if you'd like to do that, I have a scrap. I put a scrap in the kit so the girls could decide to do that. Most of them decided to just do like this card and just do 2 bees. Just something about those bees. Now those bees, you're like, where are those from? All right, if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you will know where these are from. Every quarter with Paper Pumpkin subscribers, you get a chance to purchase these add-ons. And this was the add-on for January, February, March of 2025. Sadly, it's gone. Like, it's sold out immediately. I was so happy. I saw some cards and I was like, where's that cute little bee from? I looked through everything current and I couldn't figure out where it was from. And then realized it was from the Paper Pumpkin add-on and grabbed it. And sure enough, as soon as I got it, it was sold out. So I was glad. So again, this is just a perk available to Paper Pumpkin subscribers. There's always these little add-on dies. It's just super, super cool. So that's where I got it from. You could use anything on there. You might have a different kind of embellishment, or you could just use a flower, what have you. These other 2 pieces, I've got 2. This one's a 3x3, and I've got it scored at 1 inch on both sides. This one's a 3x4, and I've got it scored at 1 inch on both sides. So these are going to end up folding like this. And then this one also, same thing. We're going to fold it like this. And I'm going to take this, because this is going to end up being my front, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this strip of cardstock, this DSP, onto the front of this. I think when I first did this, I did it like after, and that was just a lot harder after I'd had it put together, and this is just much simpler. to go ahead and put it on there. Okay. So then the other thing I'm going to do to prep this is I'm going to take this, the 3x3 piece. I'm going to use tear and tape, and I'm just going to put it on this edge up here on both of those edges. So I'm going to put a piece there. My tear and tape doesn't want to tear. I think it's because I have no strength in this thumb, so it's kind of hard to grab. There we go. Burnish that down really well. What we're going to do is this is going to end up sitting down into this, and it's just going to adhere at the bottom. Okay, it's going to be a little pocket like that. So the best way I have found to do that is take your tear and tape off here. Oops. And it's centered in here. You could measure, or you could just lay it down like this. I'm going to lay it down and then take this piece off. Like that, and it's flat, and just fold that down. And that's the easiest way. And this should fold back and forth really easy. So now what I've got this, and I've got little pockets. And I don't know if you can tell, but the adhesive's at the bottom there, so there's like these little slits there. But what I'm going to do is I want to cut an angle here, and the easiest way I have found to do that is to fold it down flat, take it on the back side, and you're going to fold from that tiny part down to the 3-inch side down to that 4-inch, and I'm going to do it on this side too. So I've got that, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the back. So from the bottom of that 4-inch up to that 3-inch. So just an angle. Do that on both sides. And there I've got my little stand that my card is going to sit into. Easy peasy. Like I said, it looks complicated, but it really is simple. So let's go ahead and do some stamping. I'm using a different stamp set for this. This is also an online exclusive, and another one that I think just gets missed. So it is You Are Remarkable, and I love it. It's got this nice black drawn outline, and then the centers, it's a 2-step stamping. The centers are like very watercolor look, and it's got some beautiful sayings in it as well. So You Are Remarkable goes really great with this card, and it went really well with the sentiment that we're pulling out of the Everyday Arches, which is, oops, sorry, this You Are Simply Fantastic is the sentiment that I'm using out of here. So I've already got this mounted so that it fits on this arch. The nice thing about these photopolymers is like you can mount it and then adjust it if it, I mean, it's designed to fit this arch perfectly, but you know, sometimes it can get a little wonky, so you can adjust it and move it around, which is kind of nice. Let's go ahead and use, I've got to find my Memento ink, and I'm going to ink it up. This one, I find like it's easier to kind of keep this block down and then stamp on it and kind of look at it and make sure I've got good coverage, because it's such a big image. Also, this one, I think it's easier, again, to lay down something dark underneath so I can see it a lot better. Oops. Oh, I just touched it. So I don't know if I got ink off of it, so I'm going to go ahead and, I can never get through stamping without getting ink all over my fingers. I know I've got it down here closer to me so I can see it, ladies. You Are Simply Fantastic. This is where our old Stamparatus would have been nice. Perfect. I love it. That worked out well. So that's all I need stamped on there. And then the other thing I need stamped, which I don't think I need this pad, is on here. I'm going to go ahead and ink up the flower. Again, this is from the You Are Remarkable, also online exclusive. I'm going to ink that up really well. And I'm stamping at the top of that. Ta-da! Isn't that pretty? I just think it's so pretty. All right, and then on the back, this will go on the back. So I'm taking the sentiment. I love this one. I'll read it to you as soon as I get it stamped down. Make sure I have it the right way. I almost stamped this upside down the other day for class. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. Isn't that wonderful? It goes so great with this. You are simply fantastic. And then the other thing that's in this remarkable, You Are Remarkable set is this tiny little bee. I love it. So I thought we'll use that little bee since we're going to be using the little die. And then now what we're going to do is use some of these watercolor shapes to color things in and add some interest and some fun colors here. So I've got Granny Apple Green, Petal Pink, and I have this Balmy Blue. So let's start with this Petal Pink. And here's our pieces and parts. So this is the flower. And it's going to look like it's not stamped correctly, but it is. It's just made to look like it's watercolor. So it's not a solid image. It's going to look watercolor. Now I'm trying to get it straight through with the camera here. And even if it's off a little, it's not going to matter because watercolor is typically not perfect. See how it looks like it's blotchy? That's actually the way it's designed, to look like it's watercolor. So don't think you made a mistake. The other thing I'm going to do, well, let me go ahead and finish this. I'll finish this front and then I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in the back. I've got Granny Apple Green and I've got Balmy Blue. The Balmy Blue is just the little, looks like a little kidney bean, little center of the flower. And that I'm pulling that Balmy Blue from there. I'm pulling these colors from the paper is what I did. And then the leaves, I thought the Granny Apple Green worked the best with the Balmy Blue and the, it's like I can't talk and stamp at the same time. Oh, I love it. But it looks like you've painted it yourself, and it's just the ink is doing the work for you, which I love. I love these, and I love these two-step stamping. So here, what I'm going to do on the back, I'm also going to add some fun with these flowers. So I'm going to stamp 1, 2, let's see, put one down here, and then I want to do one that's kind of off. I stamped it off just to make it lighter. Just, I don't know, when you do that, it seems to give it some more dimension. So just stamp that around. And then took the Balmy Blue again on the center of these, and then stamp this one off. It's not going to show up a whole lot, but it does, oops, does add just a tiny bit of color there. Isn't that cute? And then, let's see. You know, while I have my inks out, I'm going to go ahead and do the envelope. So the envelope, you could just leave simple. You could add just like that little bee, but I'm going all in. I'm taking my flower again. I just think this is so pretty. I would love to have, it's just be fun to get a card in the mail with, happy mail with a beautiful stamped image on it. And again, just layering those colors on there. I haven't been paying attention. I hope I've been in the camera and not off camera here for you today. And the leaves. Oh, I just love it. And then if you wanted, I think it'd be kind of fun on the back, is to take that little bee and put that on the back of the envelope. You could also put that on the back of cards, you know, when you're signing cards, but isn't that cute? Love the envelope. Okay, got all my pieces and parts, so let's put the ink away. I think we're done with ink, and we'll assemble, and I'll show you how quick and easy this is to assemble. You guys will have to let me know if you try this, make one of these cards. Oh, so much ink. All right, here's my pieces and parts. So let's get this going. I'm going to take this and layer onto the balmy blue. Love how nicely that layers. And then on the back of this one, I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to layer, this would be what would normally be the inside of your card, your sentiment on the back. And then, all right, I think we're ready to assemble. So we're going back to our little base. Remember, we've got these little slits here. What we're going to end up doing is this one is going to slide down into the back, and it's going to be centered on there. And I'm going to slide it down as far as where that white arch meets, like that. And then this one is going to end up sliding down into the front. But we're going to do the back first. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take our green glue, and I'm not going to go all the way to the edge because it goes out a little bit, but I'm going to attach some of this green glue. I don't need a ton. Kind of doing it at the bottom there. And then again, this is going to go in the back. So that's kind of slides open there. I'm going to put it down in there. Again, only as far down as this is why I use the green glue, so I can move it around. And then you can see the ends coming down right there. And then just press that down so that you've got a good, and see how that's just attached in the back. And then the same thing for the front, this one. This one can go all the way across. I'm not putting a ton because I don't want it to gush out of this little flap. And this one, you can kind of play with how far down you want to put it. You don't have to put it as far down as it'll go. I kind of just look at it to see how it's positioned. And then, again, just press that. And it's going to be safely snuggled in that little cavern there. And then the card, again, it'll sit up. It's kind of hard to show on the camera here this way, but it's so fun. And then you can decide how you want to do the front. Again, with this one, I had stamped another flower and cut it out and then used the Lots of Love and placed it on there. But I think with this one, we're just going to keep it simple, and we're going to do the hi there. And I'm just going to center it on there. And then I'm going to take my little bees. Let's see, I have little. So we're going to attach these. I like to just get little tweezers to hold this. And I'm just going to put a tiny little, you just don't need a lot, tiny little dabs, low battery. So I'll have to plug this in here in a second. Just a tiny little glue. And place it there. Let me grab my charger just because I don't want my phone to die in the middle of this. So give me a second here. Let's plug this in. I don't know if it, hopefully we're good. And then the other one, I thought, I just love the way that it came out of this. So I'm looking, and I only want to put the glue on the part that's going to be adhered to the white. I don't want to put it out on the outside there because then it would make a mess. So I'm just going to do, I don't know if I'm in the camera here. So just a little bit. And we're going to go right here. I'm going to hold it there for a second. Ta-da! How cute is that? I think we're done. I didn't add bling to this one. You could. But there is that card. And again, it folds down, fits in an envelope nicely. You can sign it down here or here. any of this right here you could sign. There's the back of it. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. You are simply fantastic. I love it. I think it's so cute. So there's that one. Let me show you some other ones. Again, this one I just cut out the flower and added here, and then that extra bee I stuck on the back. I didn't add as many colors on the back. I just kept it really simple, but kind of like the colors back there. Pulls that blue back in. So there, I don't think I did, oh, this one I did, again, that was out of that, what more messages, I adore you, I chose that one. So any of those would work really well. How fun is that? So that is card number 4. And that's all 4 cards for you. So, oh, how fun was that? So let me pull the cards back in. Let me pull this out. I'll pull all the cards back in to share with you. So that was, this was card 4. This was card 3. Trying to make sure I'm in the camera here. Let's see, card 2. Oops. Card 2. Am I still in the camera? I think so. And then the first card. The way to go. This one. Card 4. Maybe I lost the camera. There we go. I think it's in the camera. I can hardly tell sometimes. So those are the 4 cards for my everyday Arches class. So fun. So I will save this video up, and those that bought the class ahead of time will be able to come back and watch that. And anybody actually can come back and watch this. And I'm going to attempt to turn the camera back around. All right. So that was my class. How fun was that? Again, let me show these. So this was the first card. Way to go. I just love those arches. I just love them. I think we're going to be able to use them for so many things. This is the second card. This is the third one, the shaker card. Love it. You see it's like a tent card, so fun fold. And then this is the fourth card, and it's just a fun pop-up 3-dimensional card that will easily fold down to go into a card. Has the message on the back. So there's that. Again, everyday arches. So glad you came. So here's the deal. If you're sad that you missed like I said, the girls that came to my class in person, I had 2 classes yesterday, and the girls that pre-ordered ahead of time for Craft Along got the kit, and they got the full pack of DSP and the gems and the card kit to go with their class fee. So they got to make these, and again, and the PDF. So if you are sorry that you missed out, what I'm going to do is, if you make a purchase, a $75 purchase, I will send you just the card kits packet. So basically, not the DSP, not the gems, but the 4 packets that have all the pieces cut and prepped for you. It will not include any of the stamp sets or dies. I'll have the basic arches and things like that cut out for you, but and the little bees, I'll throw those in there, especially since that's not available. That will be a little bonus for you. And it won't include ink or anything like that. But if you place a $75 order, I'm going to send that card kit. I'll also send you the PDF file so that you'll have in an email. I'll email that to you so you have access to that as well. So little bonus there. And I'll do that till the end of the month because we only have like another week. But that is my class. It was so fun. I had so much fun sharing this. I've got a couple other things I want to share with you before I leave, but let me pop these up I just think they're so fun. They're so different from each other, but there we go. I love that you came and watched today. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for everyone that came to class, whether it was here online or whether it was in person. I appreciate it. Your support and your business greatly. So, but here, as we finish up, I can't leave without reminding you of the other promo that Stampin' Up! Has going on, and that is the Ultimate Kit, the demo kit, which is on sale for, I don't think, I've been with Stampin' Up! For almost 25 years, since 2002, so however long that is. I don't think we've ever had a kit special that was this good of a deal. So for $39, you get to choose $125 worth of product for that. And that's also going to give you cases of catalogs and a paper pumpkin kit. It's going to be free shipping. And then after that, you will continue to have a 20% discount on anything else that you buy. So that is such an incredible deal. You can also go a little bigger. You can do $99 and get $189. But honestly, I'd just go for the $39 and get the $125, and then whatever order you put in after that, you're going to get 20% off. So I think that's a better deal. So please reach out to me for information on that. I'll put up another blurb, but that's going till the end of, just till the end of October. So I would love it. It's a great opportunity. You meet so many wonderful people, and I love the girls that are in my Stampin' Up! Family. We have such a good time when we get together, and I'd love to grow it. I'd love to grow it. I'd love to include you. The more the merrier, and new people just bring in fun energy, so that would be really cool. So yeah, all right, just a reminder, thanks for coming for my everyday Arches class, whether you came in person or here online. Facebook lives only stay for 30 days, but I will be reposting this up. I'll download it, post it up to my YouTube, so it'll be over on my YouTube. If you're not on my YouTube channel, I would love it. I would love it, love it, love it if you would go over, and if you like what you see, subscribe. That would help me out, because eventually I'll probably be trying to do lives from there instead of from here, but I would love it. Send your friends over there, and let me know what you like to see, what you like to see. But head over there, and then if you make a purchase between now and the end of the month of $75 or more, I'll send you the card kits so you can make all 4 of these cards. And again, it won't include the stamp sets or anything like that. And I think the DSP, and it wasn't when I designed it, but the DSP and the gems are now on the last chance list. Sadly, I was so sad. The stamp set is not. The stamp set and the arches are available, but the DSP and the gems. So if you like this DSP, you will want to get on there and grab it. And I think it's even on sale. I think it's a little discounted. So hopefully it's still there, and I'm not lying to you. I hope it's still there. So I would grab it, and that can be part of your $75 order. And then the other thing, I have a couple other classes coming up. This is like my advertising here. I got a couple other classes coming up, and they are Christmas focused, Christmas card focused. So the first one is my Stamp-A-Stack, which is probably the favorite card class of the year, and it's where you make a stack of cards. So I have 4 different cards, and you're going to make 3 of each of the 4 of those. So you're going to walk away with 12 cards. That is starting to fill up. Okay, so November, it's coming up quick. So Monday, November the 10th at 1 and 6. So I have 2 different times on that. And it starts a little earlier than my typical classes. My typical classes are 6:30, but we start at 6 because Stamp-A-Stack takes a little longer. So at 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Monday, November 10th. And then I'm also having it on Thursday, November 13th at 1. So, and we're about a halfway, maybe more than halfway full on each day. So, I can only fit so many in the studio. So please let me know right away if you want to do those class. And that one is $45. And then the other Christmas card class I have is going to focus on the Traditions of Christmas stamp set and DSP, which is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And it is Thursday, December 4th at 1 and 6:30. And then also I'm going to do an online live like I did today, and that's going to be Friday, December 5th at 1. So, and that's the Traditions of Christmas. Now that one, it's going to be similar to this class where you're going to have 4 cards, but you're going to get a pack of DSP and you're going to get some fun, like sequence gems that are going to go with that. So that's what I have coming up for you. So let me know right away. Contact me to get registered for those classes. And I think that's it. Thanks, ladies, for popping in and joining me today. I had a lot of fun sharing these cards. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ever reach out to me. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.